Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Same-sex marriage should be legally recognized because it aligns with our country's values of freedom, equality, and our fundamental belief in the separation of church and state. Same-sex marriage is recognized in many countries, including Canada, Belgium, Spain, Norway, Portugal, and many others. And in the United States, it's recognized by 9 states and the District of Columbia. In May, North Carolina voters voted to approve Amendment 1, which effectively banned same-sex marriage. And at that time, I'd argue that North Carolina put our state on the map as a place of intolerance, discrimination, and a place that does not value freedom and equality. I support same-sex marriage because it's a matter of equity. I believe that if I'm allowed to enjoy the benefits and the rights and the privilege of marrying the person that I love, then my friends and family and neighbors and co-workers should have the same rights and benefits and privileges that I have. Why does same-sex marriage matter? Well, many allies believe that it legitimizes same-sex relationships. For couples that are in same-sex relationships and they have children, it's also another avenue and opportunity to provide a stable environment for their children that they're raising together. Most importantly, it's the legal and the hospital rights that are bestowed upon couples when they are in legally recognized marriages. There are the hospital visitation rights, there's the matter of inheritance, there are the financial benefits that come from married couples that can file taxes and have other financial benefits together. These are all denied to same-sex couples. Opponents to same-sex marriage point to the supposed threat to the sanctity of marriage. And I'd argue that marriage is a secular institution and that the government does not have a role in determining what is sanctimonious and what dictates a personal relationship. In fact, if marriage was such a sanctimonious institution, I would question why the divorce rate is so high for all of the straight married couples that have entered into marriage. I'd also point to the legions and legions of stories of same-sex couples that have been together for 10, 20, 30 years. In fact, the state of Washington recently had a news story about a same-sex couple that had been together for more than 50 years. For those opposing on a religious basis, that's fine. I'm not going to try to change your point of view, but I expect that folks that do not agree with your religion could have the ability and the right to enter into same-sex marriages as a secular institution. My views on the matter of the role of government in this personal decision align across the aisle, both with conservatives and liberals. In fact, back in the early 2000s, when the federal amendment was on the table, Senator John McCain came out and said that the constitutional amendment we're debating today strikes me as antithetical in every way to the core philosophy of Republicans. I'm not alone. In fact, a recent poll released by George Washington University showed that out of 1,000 likely voters, 40% of respondents said that they support marriage equality. More recent studies show that more than half of Americans support marriage equality these days. Some of the opponents to marriage equality think that this will change the definition, and in fact, allowing same-sex marriage, to me, is comparable to the saying that goes, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So because we allow same-sex marriage does not take away from the right or the definition of straight couples' definition of marriage. And it does not harm straight couples' marriage. In other couples where same-sex marriage is permitted, they continue to have their marriage honored and respected in those countries. Some ask whether there would be other alternatives to marriage for gay and lesbian couples, whether civil unions are an option. They are an option, but they do not work, and they do not provide the same benefits and rights as marriage. For example, the civil union laws don't qualify a spouse or children for coverage that employers offer for health coverage. And if a loved one is sick and needs to take time off of work, then same-sex couples are not eligible for family leave. I urge you to support marriage equality and to vote only for candidates that do the same. I also encourage you to speak up and let friends and family know that you support same-sex marriage as well. You can go to the Equality North Carolina website and you can look at their list of candidates and you can see the ones that they endorse and the ones that do support same-sex marriage. Quoting from one of my favorite bumper stickers, if you do not support gay marriage, then don't have one.